Hello, everybody. I'm Jackie K. Cooper, and my guest today is Bridge Stewart, the writer, director, actor of the movie A Fantastic Relationship. You've seen my review. I was so surprised because I'd never seen you or anything you were in or anything you'd done, and it was amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that,
I'm
Jackie.
serious, Bridge. It was so dialogue driven and such sharp dialogue, which you wrote. And I think I said in my review, it reminded me of the early Woody Allen films. You know,
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I could see, he and Diane Keaton playing those two roles that you did and speaking that dialogue just
Well,
perfectly.
thank you so much. Yeah, that was a huge inspiration was
And
some of those Woody Allen movies from the 70s and 80s. And
I
I'm
was
glad
way
that
before your
came
time,
through.
but I lived through them. I was there seeing them. Tell me this, when somebody wrote in and commented and said, "Oh yes, I've been following his website. I've been a subscriber for ages. Blah 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 blah." So you've had some renown through YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of where I kind of got my start with a lot of this. I produced a lot of short comedy stuff on YouTube and yeah, I feel like that's sort of the area that I sort of kind of created the style of comedy that I make that you see in the movie. I mean, a lot of you'll notice in the movie it's very kind of episodic, like every scene kind of could stand on its own a little bit. And a lot of that comes from, just short ideas that I made in the past. And a lot of the shorts on that YouTube channel are usually like 3 to 5 minute scenes or something. And I thought, after doing that for a long enough time, I thought, okay, well, why not just go the distance and actually make a feature, make a bunch of scenes, combine it, and make it into a full feature length film? And so yeah, that's kind of the culmination of how this movie was created. Yeah.
Well, what's your background? Where were you born? Were your parents in the business? Did you have connections in the movie business?
Yeah, I no, I no connections in the movie business. I'm originally from Washington State and yeah, grew up there and just grew up loving movies and watching movies and always wanted to come down. I live in Los Angeles now, and come down and make movies. And I did. I've spent a lot of years working in the industry, just in production and editing. And, editing is sort of my day job for work. And on the side, always producing my own stuff, and it's always been comedic and stuff. But yeah, basically just always wanting to make movies. That's and I think I saw Jurassic Park when I was a kid, and I saw that and said, okay, this is what I want to do. And that sort of brought me into this.
And you stuck with it.
I stuck with it, yeah, through thick and thin.
I will have to interject. When I was in college, I spent one of the summers after my sophomore year in Washington State working at the Green Giant Cannery, and
Okay.
it was the rainiest place I have ever been in my life.
Yes, it is. I don't think you'll get anybody disagreeing with you on that. It's like 9 months of gray there.
So you've got these concepts of short films, and then you decide to put it all together. That's not an easy thing to do. Especially the movie has a very professional look to it. It's not like, well, let's go out in the barn and make a movie. Uh, it, what was the cost of this film overall? Or if you don't want to say, that's okay.
Well, it was under 90 grand, so there was a budget behind it. But a lot of it was just a lot of, I got a lot of funders through the YouTube channel that I had. A lot of people would say, "Okay, can I donate to you towards like a Patreon, which is like, an app for supporting artists." And I always said like, wait for the movie that I want to make, and then I'm going to ask you all for money. And I did. And I was able to raise money through that. I dumped a bunch of my own money into it. And yeah, it was I've been really lucky through making those shorts online to meet some really talented people, both acting and crew members and the cinematographers. And through that process, I got to be friends with them and then thus ask them for a lot of favors for this movie. So that's why it looks good. It's not me. It's the help of all those other people.
But still, you were wearing the triple crown here, writer, director, actor. I mean,
COVID
you're one
compliance
of those,
officer.
huh?
COVID compliance officer.
Yeah. But any one of those roles would be all encompassing. How did you manage to do all three?
Um, I mean, I think it was just a pure necessity, you know. It's like you'll hear a lot of people nowadays are talking about, you can't really rely on the studio system or any of that stuff anymore because I mean it's kind of going through a rough time at the moment. Being able to get funding for projects, getting things off the ground, and it's like you really have to just do it yourself. You have to wear all these hats, and you have to just kind of force yourself to get out there and make these things because nobody's going to come along and help you. Yeah, I mean, they'll help you, but like there's no support from the big studio system a lot of the time now, especially right now in the industry. And I think, as a filmmaker, and I encourage all the other filmmakers out there to just go out with your friends and shoot this stuff, go out and make it at whatever cost, because otherwise it's not going to get made and you're not going to be able to get your projects made. Yeah.
Well, you got it made, and what did you go the festival circuit with it?
Yeah. Yeah. Did festivals.
And you're on Amazon Prime now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We were able to secure a distributor, indie rights, through the festival circuit. And they're, helping us getting it out. We're on Amazon Prime right now, and we're going to be getting on other platforms soon. So,
That's amazing. I mean, just getting on Amazon Prime is huge.
uh, yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
No, I'm just
it's a huge
stating a
win.
fact here.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been around forever and people talk to me about what can I do? What can I do? I've submitted to this, I've submitted to that, door shut, door shut. And here you make yours go the festival route and
Well,
Amazon
thank you.
Prime is there.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's no, it's huge. It's great. And we're really glad that like this movie is out there for people to see now. So much of the time it's tough. Making a movie is hard, but so much of the hardness too is having a pipeline for people to be able to see it. And we're really grateful that this is on Amazon Prime and people get to watch it. Yeah.
What amazes me is I go to my computer and I have this email from Bridge Stewart saying, "Hey, I made a movie. Would you mind taking a look at it?" Blah, blah, blah. That's pretty bold.
Yeah, I mean,
I will tell you what's even rare is uh, probably 70, 80% of the time, delete. But I don't
Well,
know.
I'm very thankful.
There was something about the way you presented it that piqued my curiosity.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to, promote this film and get it out and have people see this. And, one of the thoughts was, getting critics on board and being able to see this. And I got to see your channel and how invested you are in movies and, the passion you bring to reviewing movies and talking with people and stuff.
I
And,
love independent film. I,
that's
I,
great.
I, I really do. I don't, I don't get to follow up on every request I get, like I said, but man, when you just discover new talent, and I will
Oh,
say this, I don't know if they were your friends or you had auditions or whatever, but you have a singularly superb supporting cast.
Yeah, yeah.
How
That
do you-
was always the idea with this movie. This movie is about a relationship, obviously, but it very much is kind of an ensemble film. And that was kind of the idea going into it, was that I knew a lot of, great and talented actors out there. And I wrote a lot of the roles with them in mind. And so being able to write with a, actor that I know, it really does help the writing process. And I know how they were, and I got to work with them and see what works and what doesn't with the dialogue with them. So, yeah, I was very lucky to have, in the process of making all those shorts in the past, meet all these very talented actors and have them be in the movie. Yeah.
well, another thing that fascinated me with the movie was the fact that you didn't write these characters to be particularly likable.
Yeah.
You just thought, here's the way they are, and here's what happens. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's always been the kind of movies. And I think stories in general, if you've got a fully likable character, I don't think that's as interesting to me as someone who, does have flaws and does have issues and doesn't necessarily deal with those issues correctly. I think people, and I specifically, I really enjoy those kind of characters. My favorite movies have very flawed people in them. I mean, you brought up Woody Allen. It's like a lot of his stories are just flawed people. Paul Thomas Anderson, a lot of that as well. Like, it just, I think those are the characters that I enjoy most and that I want to write for, and that I want to present. So yeah, it's I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be too likable with these characters, I guess.
well, you said that you wrote some of these characters with the actors in mind that you knew. Were you always writing Brian for you?
No, I wasn't. I
Who
had
is the lead character in the movie or based on the
yeah.
story?
I had a couple people in mind for that, and then I just went for it. I it was so much written. A lot of the dialogue in this is just written in my kind of cadence and voice. And I thought, okay, I'll just do this. And also, I mean, it was kind of a logistics thing, I mean, it cut down the budget for me to be in
Yeah.
it, and be there every single day, and it helped with that too. So yeah, it was a combination of, it was kind of written. I wrote in the way that I talk essentially, and then also logistically, it just made sense for the shoot.
Well, the acting is so good that it seems just conversational.
Uh,
Was there any improvisation or
Yeah,
anything?
there's a little bit. Yeah. The dinner scene probably had the most towards the end of the film. I wanted there to be more improvisation, but we were on such a tight schedule with this film that it was so if we had a little bit of time after everything, we would do it, but a lot of the times we didn't. I mean, like I said earlier, like every scene is kind of its own story in a way, and essentially we were shooting a scene a day. So we would go to a location, shoot it, build out all the equipment, shoot it, wrap, leave for the day, on to the next day. And so we were on a very
The
tight
days
schedule.
did it take to film?
How many days did it take?
Uh-huh.
It took 5, 10. It was about a 14-day shoot. Yeah. So roughly 3 weeks with weekends in there. Yeah.
The is it Katie? Is that her name? Is Brian?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, now elect. I can't remember the actress's name. That
Nikki McKenzie. Yeah.
Mackenzie.
Right, Katie.
Did you ever get any grief from her saying, "All I do is whine. Give me some redeeming qualities here"?
No, because I feel like, I mean, I always felt like both of them were pretty whiny, including my character.
Sure.
But I don't know.
It
I
was
feel
part of
like,
their charm was the fact that
yeah.
they were so whiny.
I agree. Yeah. And I feel like her character, I mean, it's very much she's trying to I think it's all makes sense towards the end of the movie when you see her connection with her family and everything. And it makes sense why she's going through this process, and this couple is leading towards this dinner party that neither of them want to go to, but it all ends up making sense as to her motivations at the end. So I think,
I-
yeah, I mean, there's moments where she's pretty unlikable, and my character's pretty unlikable too, but I think it ultimately makes sense, the character motivation, and that's what I ultimately
oh,
care about.
it's that's
Yeah.
what makes it realistic is the fact that, you know, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. This is not a happily ever after movie. This is kind of like, well, that's the way it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's happy. I don't think it's necessarily sad either. I think
No,
it's
it's
just
just that's the way it is.
yeah, yeah. I agree. That's the way it is. I think that's a good summation of how the ending is. Yeah.
What is the overall reaction been? Have you, you
I
know,
mean, it's been really fun watching the reactions. The most I saw was at the film festivals that I went to, obviously because it's like you get to see it with the theater and stuff. And like, when you make something, especially like a comedy, like you're always second guessing. You're like, is this funny? Is this even working? And being able to see it at a theater and have everybody laughing and being part of a theater experience and enjoying something, it was a really great experience. And people that, I mean, they seem to love it. They're laughing and they're telling me it's great. Who knows, maybe they're all lying, I don't know, but
I'm telling you, you've got, I checked right before I started this interview, but you've got 5 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and they're
yeah.
all fresh.
Yeah, no, people seem to really like this. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the reactions I've got. And but yeah, I'm glad people are enjoying it. I'm glad people are liking this.
All right, has this whetted your appetite for, okay, that's one in the bag. Let's move on to number two.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely want to make something new, it's an interesting landscape right now, just in the film industry as a whole, seeing what kind of medium things are playing in, whether it's movies, television, or shorts or whatever. But yeah, I definitely want to get back into making something. The last 6 months have been dedicated to this movie, so it would be nice to work on the next project at this point.
Well, we're going to be excited to see what you come up with next, that's for sure, because you've got the talent. I mean,
Thank you so much, Jackie. I
is
really
there.
appreciate
I mean, you know, I I call it like I see it, and
it.
you know, if I had not liked it, you would be sitting there saying, "Oh gosh, you know,
Have you done that
he
before?
gave me a rotten tomato." But
That's great.
this was fun. It was great, and I wish you even more success. So keep it going, and keep in touch with me. Next time
Yeah.
it'll be easy. Just like, hey, I got another movie. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie, and thanks for, supporting independent cinema like this. I mean, it's hugely needed right now, and I'm glad there's people like you out there that are supportive of this sort of
Like
stuff.
I think the one sentence thing we put on Rotten Tomatoes was that you come out full throttle, and it was like, man, he has just been born fully grown. Uh,
Well,
and
thank
so,
you. Thank
so
you.
I think I see a bright future ahead of you. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you, Jackie.
yeah,
Yeah, appreciate it.
it's been really great. But this has
All
been
right.
Jackie K. Cooper interviewing Bridge Stewart, which is the most unique name. I've never known anybody named Bridge.
I try. Yeah.
You're that's unique. But
Yeah.
hope you've enjoyed this. Go out and see his movie. Watch it on Amazon Prime, whatever. A fantastic relationship.
Thanks, everybody.